So let's talk registration groups. Inside your NDIS application is a whole list of 36 different areas you can register for. Each of them have their own qualification requirements, other requirements at audit, and mostly I talk to people who just don't understand what they're applying for. So let's have a look at each of these groups and talk about them. The first one, accommodation and tenancy, number 101. This is really a function of support coordination, level 1 and 2 support coordination, which is known as assist life stage transition 106. So if you're doing 101, you generally will need to bill under 106 now. So I would only be adding accommodation and tenancy if you are actually a support coordinator and also doing 106. It isn't the SIL registration group. It actually has nothing to do with accommodation. It's really the function of helping people find accommodation, which now falls under coordination of supports, which falls under this here. So if you're applying for this, please also apply for this because they can't be separated anymore. Okay, so next, let's talk about assist, access, maintain, employ. So this is for employment providers, helping people access employment. So this is the group that SLES falls under, School Leaver Employment Scheme as well, and is really around employment. So you can tick that off if your work is around helping people access employment or higher education. Now, assist products for personal care and safety. Now, this isn't providing personal care. This is providing equipment around personal care. So if you're an equipment seller, a chemist, a shop, this is the registration group for you. If you want to provide personal care, this is not the registration group for you. Next is assist personal activities high. This is known as module 1. This is complex nursing. This is if you're providing things like peg feeding, tracheotomy support, complex wound care, subcut injections, etc. For this, you need to be a registered nurse or have a registered nurse on staff, and you will generally know if this is a support that you want to be providing. It is complex. It adds module 1. Only do this if you need to because it adds costs and complications to your audit process. Personal mobility equipment. This is the selling of things like scooters and other mobility equipment. If that is your business, this is the group for you. Otherwise, there's no need for you to add this. Hopefully you're seeing a pattern here that I only want you to add things you're actually going to be doing. If you're adding extra groups just for the sake of it, you're adding cost, complication, the need for policies, the need for requirements, and you'll be registered for something you'll never use, which is just a waste of your time and money. Okay. So the next one is assist transition life stages. This is support coordination level 1 and 2. So not specialist support coordination, but support coordination level 1 and 2. If you are a support coordinator, this is the group for you. Next is assist personal activities. This is the main registration group for personal care, core supports providers. This is things like showering and grooming, etc. in the home. If you're a core supports provider, this is the group for you. Assist travel and transport. This is, being an Uber driver or a taxi driver and taking people with disability to things like appointments. It is the travel function of it only. Next is vehicle modifications. So this is generally for mechanics, etc., who want to modify a vehicle and does have qualification requirements. Next is behaviour support. So this is the writing of a behaviour support plan by an approved behaviour support practitioner. If you are an approved behaviour support practitioner, there's a separate registration process to get that registration as a behaviour support practitioner. So generally you'll know if that's you or not. If you want to be the person writing a behaviour support plan, then this is the group for you. Home mods. So this is builders and the like who want to modify existing homes, things like rails and ramps as an example. There is a qualification requirement here. Next is assistive equipment for recreation. So this is selling of things like recreation equipment, swings as an example, and it's the selling of equipment. So you'd be a shop as an example to add this. Next is vision equipment. If you're an ophthalmologist, I think that's the word, this is the group for you, someone who deals with eyes, an optometrist. Community nursing. This is for registered nurses who provide community nursing services by a registered nurse in the home. So this could be wound care or medication that needs to be done by a registered nurse in the home. You do need a registered nurse for this group. Next is daily task shared living. This is the SIL registration group and is also used for respite, ILO, and STA. If you are providing accommodation in a home or providing supports inside a shared living environment, this is the group for you. Next is Innovate Community Participation. There's not a lot of funding here, but this is things like the Blind Basketball League or other people who do outside the normal community participation activities and events to bring people with disability into the community in innovative ways. Development of life skills. This is a training and teaching type group. So if you're running a SIL home and inside that SIL home, you're doing training around how to make meals, that would fall under development of life skills. It can also be used for things like teaching both parents and people with disability skills like transport skills, how to get to work, how to get on the bus, etc. It is a development of life skills through teaching, mentoring, and training. Early childhood supports. This is for therapy or the key worker role for children under 9. Generally, you would be an OT, a speech pathologist, etc., and you would be supporting people under 9 for this group. This is an additional module and does add cost and complexity, but if you are working with children under 9, it is a requirement. Hearing services. So this is for hearing aids and the like. Interpreting and translating. For this, you do need to have a NATI qualification as a translator and need to, have that to add that group. Hearing equipment. This is also for things like hearing aids. So these two usually go together. This is for audiologists. Next is assistance with products for personal tasks. This is, again, equipment. This isn't providing household tasks, it's selling equipment. So again, a shop or a chemist would use this. Information and comms equipment. This is, again, selling of those equipments. Sometimes OTs use this. Otherwise, people like an e-commerce shop or other equipment supplier. Participate Community is the community access CA registration group. So if you're taking people into the community day to day for activities, etc., this is the group. Exercise physiology or personal training. You need to have an exercise physiology qualification and professional body membership, or a personal training qualification and professional body membership for this group to be added. Plan management, there is a qualification requirement here as well, and this is to administer the plan. This is a financial intermediary role. Therapeutic supports is all our therapists. So this is our OTs, speech counselors, etc. fall under this. And this is obviously for over 9s. And then if you did under 9s, you'd also add early childhood supports. Specialist diver training, if you provided this support, you would know this would be your core business. Assistance for animals is for things like guide dogs. I believe there's not a lot of funding there and isn't used very regularly. But if you are in the business of assistance animals, this would be the group for you. Specialist disability accommodation. So this is the building, the bricks and mortar of disability accommodation, and would make you an SDA provider. Support coordination. This is specialist support coordination, level 3 for temporary, transitional, high needs support coordination. There is a qualification requirement here. It does add complication and cost because it is module 4. Specialist support employment. This is for employment providers to support people with disability into employment. Hearing services is, again, things like hearing aids. Custom prosthetics is generally done by, I've forgotten the name of the specialist. I think it's yes, I can't remember, but there is actually a professional body membership and a qualification requirement for this group. And last but not least, we have group centre activities, which is the provision of a group program. So if we just talk through combinations of reg groups, so that's in explaining each registration group individually. Now let's just quickly talk about combinations. So if you are a SIL provider, you would generally have travel and transport. You would have 115 for SIL. You would also generally provide development of life skills inside the house. You would probably also register for group centre activities, community access, and personal activities. So this combination of groups here, 107, 108, 115, 117, and 125, and 136 is probably the most popular combination out there. And that's what we'd call a core supports provider, and also a SIL provider. And that grouping usually goes together. There are other groupings, like if you're doing allied health, you would do therapeutic supports and then potentially early childhood supports. If you're doing specialist support coordination, you would then potentially also do level 1 and 2 support coordination as a combination. If you then you could add other things. If you're an equipment supplier or a shop, you would generally have all the equipment supply groups in your registration. And that's kind of how they get grouped together. On the page that this video is on, I will put some more information about groups, and I might even create an ebook on this for you to download. Thanks so much. The next video in our series will go through doing your self-assessment.